All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Mark Harbert podcast for another awesome episode. And man, I am excited for this one today because we've been working to get together for a while, just getting our schedules to mesh together. But I am so excited today to have on with me Michelle Barnes. And I met Michelle a couple years ago at an event we were both speaking at. And we just kind of, you know, hit it off, talking, had a great time hanging out, at the event and just getting to meet a lot of people. But there's just something that happens when you go to an event. There's just some cool energy there, and Michelle was just a powerhouse on stage. I remember. And but Michelle, I'm so excited for you to be here with me today. Thanks for coming out.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks for putting up with the back and forth trying to make it happen. But I know we're both like juggling a million things, but that's what's so fun.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm
entrepreneurial
so excited.
schedule, trying to get it to work.
Didn't we meet like pre-COVID? I think I
I
was like,
think
oh
so. Yeah, it was before. Yeah, we met before COVID went down. So
gosh, so that's like even is that 3 years now? Oh
I
my
want to
God.
say it was like March of 2019, if I'm correct, somewhere around there. So
I think you're right. I
yeah.
think you're right. Well, I follow you. I follow everything you do. I love everything you do. I loved meeting you at that event. And, there's just certain people, that you're drawn to. And I always say your vibe attracts your tribe. And there was that instant like, okay, I want to know this guy more. I want to hang out with him. He's fun. He's knowledgeable. He's amazing. Like I want to hang out with that human. So thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I appreciate it for sure. So let's I want to ask you a little bit about your story because I don't want to
Okay.
assume that anybody's, knows you. I mean, I kind of think who doesn't know Michelle, but hey, somebody might not know you out there, but talk about your story a little bit and how because you've had a lot of success in network marketing. And
Yeah.
I'd love to kind of know a little bit about what led up to that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll kind of give you the Cliff Notes version because it's like a 27-year, 27 chapters in this crazy book.
27-year overnight success, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. I was like, I was an overnight success. It just took 20 years. But I think like a lot of your listeners, Mark, and like a lot of us, I was told to go to school, get good grades, go to college, that was the key to success. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I went to CU Boulder, go Buffs. And then I went to law school out in LA because since I was like 13 or 14, I wanted to be an attorney. I realized very quickly when I was in law school and when I was interning for a couple of attorneys who were miserable, I realized very quickly that I was on the wrong path. And I think sometimes we're doing things because we want to make people proud. And I think I was more on that path because I got the pat on the back, like, oh, good job, you're getting that college degree, and oh, good job, you're going to law school now. And but I had to take a step back and be like, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And when I saw these attorneys that were working 80 plus hours a week, I don't mind working 80 plus hours a week, but I want to do it on my own terms. Yeah, I'm pretty unemployable, and not the best employee on the planet. But I saw their lives, and they were making incredible money, and they had the cars and the boats and the toys and all the stuff. But I also saw that they were working in an office where they had a commute 80 plus hours a week. So I know they didn't see their wives, they didn't see their kids. I was the only female in the office, in that firm, working at the time. And I've known since birth that I wanted to be a mom. So I started really having this internal turmoil. I always say my internal GPS system was like, "You're going the wrong way." And long story short, I in between my first year and second year of law school, I came back to Colorado, and I just was looking through the paper, and obviously I'm dating myself like crazy, saying that I answered an ad to be introduced to network marketing.
Okay, I was in
Um,
that boat too, so I remember ads in the paper.
Yes, yes. And what's so crazy as I remember we used to spend $1,000 in LA to run an ad that was 1 inch by 1 inch. $1,000 to generate leads. And now I look at what we're able to do for free
Yeah,
with this with social media and online. And it's just like, oh my gosh, a lot of people don't even really know what they take it for granted because you don't know what you don't know, right?
yeah.
Um, but anyway, long story short, Mark, I dropped out of law school. And I actually, when I was introduced to network marketing, I was one of those people that almost walked out of my first meeting. Thank God I didn't. That no would have cost me millions of dollars and an amazing life that I've had. So I was thinking, man, how much would that no have cost me? So but what was so crazy, Mark, is the guy that I was meeting with, it's kind of like this little training in this part because he said, when I was getting ready to walk out, he said, how do you know this isn't for you?
Mm.
And he was just like, every single thing you said you were looking for in life, this has to offer, but you're never going to know if you walk out that door.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of like, look, just chill, hang out, listen. If it's not for you, if it's for you, great. If not, great. I've been saying that one statement for 27 years. Hey, if it's for you, great. If not, great. Like whatever. And so anyway, got started just to make an extra 500 to $1,000 a month. I was $80,000 in debt. From 4 years of college, a year of law school. I was waiting tables and bartending. I could make more money doing that than I could with my degree. And so I thought, man, if I could just make an extra $1,000 a month and just start chiseling away at this mound of debt, sweet. Long story short, I got started on a Tuesday, went to a 3-day live event like you were talking about. And I was done. Once I saw the speakers and the impact that they made on me, I was like, that is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I just fell in love with the business. I fell in love with helping people's health, helping people's financial situation. And then ultimately through the personal development piece that I fell in love with, I really fell in love with teaching people how to think differently to really create the life that they want. And made 102,000 my first year. I had no freaking clue how. I didn't even care how the comp plan worked. I was just excited it did. I wasn't a numbers person. I was like, just tell me the 5 driving behaviors that I need to do to get to where you are. Like, just tell me 5 things that I need to do on a daily basis. And I still, to this day, that is my jam, is like, what's your DMO? What's your daily method of operation? And that turned into my first million before the age of 30. And then here I am 27 years later. For the last 7 years, I've been building 100% online, was kind of over the whole parties and meetings and home events and hotel events. And every way that you could imagine building this business, Mark, I've done it in 27 years. And I can tell you, I'm so grateful for social media. And I'm so grateful for being able to build right here in my house online and not have to go do all those parties and meetings. So I'm a single mom, sole provider of two boys, 11 and 14. They're the loves of my life. They're a pain in the you-know-what. A lot of times, but dang,
I know how that is. But I just think that's awesome. And I do, like, I remember, when I first got started online, I was in a network marketing company. And I remember this is like late 2010s, early, and there was a lot of resistance to the space in the network marketing world.
So much.
And I just remember thinking, I don't care what these people say. I am tired of going out 4 and 5 times a week to go to meetings and hotel stuff and systems trainings and all these other things. I'm like, I've had it, and I was willing to do all that. But man, once I started learning, how to use online strategies, it was like now I can be home. I still love going to events, but I'm not out every single night, away from the family,
Yeah. Well, seriously, I look at what we used to do and I'm like, I can't even believe I ever did all that. I mean, we did in the beginning. I mean, we were doing 7 to 9 opportunity meetings a week. They were an hour long. If you weren't there, you were, kind of a loser. So you were just there. And, and I was a total body dragger for sure. I was like, I heard the more butts you put in the seats, the more money you make. And I was like, done and done, so that's how I determined my success, was how many butts I had in the seats at those events. But, but then also, like, even later with home events and stuff, it was like our motto in my last company was more meetings means more money. Well, guess who was doing all the freaking meetings? It was me.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know if I like
this.
What
we're really saying is the more meetings you do, the more money I'll make. Right.
Exactly. Well, because it's like after that many years of doing it, it's like we're not duplicatable. And that's why I really realized that systems are duplicatable. We are not. Yeah. And that's why I am as much as it's not my personality type, to have systems and processes and everything in place. We do now, and it's magical. So
no, that's awesome. And the and this kind of leads into where I want to go next with this too is, you've had obviously a lot of success, and being that you were kind of around to see both kind of eras of network marketing, and I've seen it too, because when I
Yeah.
first got started in network marketing, it was the year 2000, and it
Okay.
was just when kind of online was starting to, where people could start to order online. You know,
Yeah.
it was, and I started out with a company, Quickstar, which was Amway.
Oh,
Kind
Amway.
of like
Yeah.
at one point or another, it seems like. But
Wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, and so it was like, kind of going, just learning and doing things, but it wasn't when I really found the online marketing that really took
Wow.
my business to another level. So that's what I want to ask you is, like, from a strategy standpoint, I want to talk a little bit about that, because um, people obviously want to know how they can build their business and what they can do. So maybe take me through a little bit of like what you do, and maybe what you take a new person through too that you get started.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, like you said, Mark, I mean, obviously it's just changed so much.
yeah,
And, which I'm just so grateful for, honestly.
yeah,
And we about 7 years ago, I brought my team to a company that builds 100% online, and it was such a blessing. And honestly, like at first, I was like, I don't know, like I don't know if we can really do this. And it's that paradigm, right? You only know what you know. And habitually, I had created this like, I can't be successful unless I'm belly to belly, face to face,
yeah,
doing coffee shop appointments, three-way calls from morning till night, all those things. And so there were a group of us that kind of basically created this whole ATM system, which a lot of the network marketing companies are
yeah,
using to this day. And there was a group of us that kind of all came together and created that, and it was the best thing. It literally is our ATM machine,
yeah,
and it stands for add tag message. And we have groups, and I call them communities because I don't think anyone wants to be added to a group.
yeah,
So it's all. And here's the thing, Mark, it's all the same things that we've always done.
yeah,
So I teach my people just to bring their offline skills online.
yeah,
You're still prospecting, you're still inviting, and the
yeah,
person who invites the most makes the most. So you're prospecting, you're inviting, you're presenting, but you're not really presenting. You're using the community to present for you, which is way more duplicatable than me doing 8 gazillion meetings, where I had the money freedom, but I definitely did not have the time freedom,
yeah,
and that's the whole reason we do this business, is for time freedom and money freedom. And a lot of people in network marketing don't have either. And even in corporate America, people are working the 40-year plan to create time freedom and money freedom. But after 40 years, they have neither.
yeah,
So it's taking a step back and going, okay, what is going to truly create, like I always say, clarity is power. I do a huge goal setting training. I'm doing it this Saturday. I was working on it all morning. I do it every single year. I've done it for 25 years now. And my goal is just to make it better and better every single year. But so that's all on the forefront of my mind right now, is like clarity is power. Like, what do you want? Um, and so I wanted time freedom and money freedom. I wanted to, be there for my kids. I wanted to not, try to never miss a thing, you
yeah,
know, and I wanted to be able to build my business around my life instead of my life around my business. And, back in the day when I would hear people say that, I didn't even know what that looked like,
yeah,
because I was so just, I was just so in it, like,
mhm,
and but with the ATM system, I mean, we started building online. We created these communities. You add them to the group, you tag them on some videos, you put them in a three-way chat. Three-way chats are like a modern day three-way call. It's
yeah,
just amazing,
yeah.
So instead of being I used to hide in closets, Mark, and hold the coat closet door shut while I was doing a three-way call, like while my 3-year-old was like yanking on the other side, crazy.
So it's
So
mainly you add people to a group where you've got a community of people already in there, and you got a lot of
yeah,
there as well. And maybe you have like a presentation that's already uploaded to the group. You just tag them in the
absolutely.
group and then you
Yep.
message them. And
Yeah,
that's
so
kind
we keep the videos in the featured post area.
of,
So you invite them to the community, you add them to the community
yeah,
or group, and then as soon as they accept the invitation, you tag them on the video that's in the featured post. And usually we have about a handful of videos that are depending on what someone's looking for.
yeah,
Like which product are they interested or service or whatever you guys are doing. And then it's like for the opportunity, like if somebody's has network marketing experience, I tag them on a different video than someone who has no network marketing
yeah,
experience.
right.
And it's magical. And then when you do the ad tag and then the message piece, literally it's just a modern day three-way call. But
Yeah,
instead of trying to organize three people's schedules, which in this day and age, like it's nearly, I mean, look how hard it was just for you and I to get together.
right.
you know
Yeah,
but it's also like instead of doing a whole three-way call where the new person on the line, like they're listening and hopefully learning and they're hopefully earning while they learn, but
yeah,
with a three-way chat they can even go back and listen to how I covered that person's objection or answered their question or how I was able to move them in a direction of getting started on the products or in the business. So it really, I mean, it's just magical.
and
I
it's
love
really
it.
kind of on your own time too, because you get to sit
Yeah,
down, message people when you feel like it, as opposed to
exactly.
you're at the grocery store and
Oh,
somebody calls you and it's a three-way call, I got to take it, you know.
right,
And I think
right.
that that's what I know for me, what really drove me when I was in network marketing to really learn online stuff was I remember one day I'm out with my wife and we're at like a restaurant.
Mhm.
I'm sitting there with my wife and I've got my newborn daughter there too at the time. And I'm thinking to myself, how I'm sitting there thinking about how I can prospect the waitress.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking to myself, I can't stand this. Like to me,
this
this is like
sucks.
I'm nuts. Like I just want to be here and enjoy it with my wife, and I don't want to. And that's when I was like, that's when I really kind of went all in on online, even
Wow.
though it was kind of heavily discouraged at the time.
Yeah,
I was just like, screw this, man. like
yeah,
and eventually it kind of, and I think when especially I would say definitely, I mean, even before that, I know network marketing had really shifted toward online, but man,
mhm,
when COVID came, it was like
yeah,
everybody who did online stuff was like, "Oh, I'm so grateful. Like I'm doing this right."
yeah. Well, that's the thing, Mark. I mean, we were already building 100% online for 5 years
Yeah.
when COVID hit. So
Yeah.
when COVID hit, like while everyone was scrambling trying to figure out what to do, we'd already been doing it that way for 5 years. So our business grew 300% in
Yeah.
2020.
Wow.
And so that was just such a blessing,
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful to people like you who paved that path, even for someone like me, because I was like more old school,
Yeah.
and I you guys, a lot of you that kind of went against the grain and were swimming upstream even more so than we have been, really paved the path and really like showed us like, oh, maybe we really can do this 100% online,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, it just I think early on it was like I have this little window into billions of potential contacts.
Yes.
I mean, I think that was kind of like where I saw it. And
Yeah.
but it's just the only way to go nowadays, and I think people get it, especially with social media. So, but I love that strategy. I think and that is something very simple that honestly, if you're listening to this right now and you're not in network marketing, you could use the ATM strategy for pretty much anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
You really,
and that's very
Mark, I've had companies actually hire me to teach them our process
yeah,
that are not even network marketing companies. So I've done some consulting work for companies to
yeah,
help them like implement the ATM system into multiple, like a lot of different businesses,
yeah.
and it really does work. It's amazing.
Well, and I want to point this out because I think this is something very, very big underlying all of this. And I think it's
Mhm.
important is like, even though we build online, I still view like one-on-one relationships and getting to know
Oh,
people are so vital to what we
yeah,
do. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that's why I'm always encouraging people, you got to get out to events. Even though we build online, it gives us so much access to everything. There's still those times where you got to get around other people.
I
So if
agree.
you're in a network marketing company, you've got an event nearby, you should totally be going to that.
100%.
If there's a marketing conference or event you want to go to, you gotta go. Like
Yeah.
just that important. And they mean, they are. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Mark, I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for the events. I mean, I cut my teeth in a company that was very event driven. It was Equinox International back in the day. And I mean, so like, I mean, we were going to a 3 day event, once, twice, 3 times a month. And then huge events all the time and spending thousands of dollars to go to these events. Um, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I really wouldn't, and even to this day, like I always know whenever I'm getting a little complacent or feeling like a little like, ugh, like, like, oh, time to get my butt to an event, because it really just is that shot in the arm. And I always say kind of that checkup from the neck up,
Yeah.
that if the mind's not right, the rest of it doesn't matter what skills and what, processes and systems are in place if you don't have your mind right.
Yeah. I just in October I went to Ray Higdon's event. This is the first event I've
Oh,
been to since COVID.
best
And
of it. I love it.
Ray had asked me to speak, and he wanted me at first to do online for the virtual stuff. I'm like, dude, you're doing this live, right? I'm like, oh hell no, I'm coming.
I love
No.
it.
I'm like, no,
I
I'm
love
coming.
I love speaking at Ray's events. It's like just like one of my favorite events
Yeah.
ever.
So I was just like, dude, I'm coming. I haven't been to an event in a while. I'm jonesing to just hug some people. Like,
Yes, totally.
yeah,
Totally. That's me. Like I'm such a hugger and I'm such a like,
yeah.
oh, I just want to be with the people.
But it really is like, and I attribute so much of the success I've had online to relationships, meeting people. You and I met at an event,
Yeah.
and you just never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to connect with, and that could lead to a partnership, a business venture, something. But it's the networking also that's such a big aspect to what we do.
It's
So
so
it
true.
is the online is so crucial, but it's like when you have the opportunity to connect with people, you have to get out and take it.
Well, and I love that it's okay for the two to meet. It's okay. Some people are like, oh no, this,
Yeah.
all the way over here, all the way over here. And I'm like, there's definitely a happy medium. And like I said, everything that we're doing online, we were already doing offline. You're building relationships, like I said, you're doing the prospecting, the inviting and the presenting and the, follow up and follow through and launching people's businesses and the coaching and training and mentoring. So all those pieces are still there. You're just doing it online, but there is something. I always say live events take it to the heart. Yeah, it takes it to that heart space versus just the mind space.
Yep.
So,
It
and
has.
I think that's an essential transformation that has to happen for someone in network marketing. Is that's kind of that bridge, you know what I mean? That essential transformation when to go from, building, being in the business or the business being in you, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. No, it is absolutely. That's such a great way to put it too. It has to go from your head to your heart, and I mean,
Yeah.
it can't. You really have to make it a part of you and like who you are and what you do. I mean, you got to love what you do because if you don't, it's just another job. It's
Yeah.
just kind of another thing you don't really enjoy, and you kind of get stuck in it for doing it for the money's sake.
Yeah.
And that is just not fulfilling. It's just really not. Like I would work 20 times harder to make less money and be happy.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
you know?
Yeah. And it sounds crazy, but I think once you've experienced
Yeah.
kind of um that feeling of just like, man, like where you're just in that flow state and you're like, I'm jamming right now, like it's so good. And it's not always going to be there, you're always going to have this. I mean, I think that's just part of being an entrepreneur, part of, being a business owner and life, but man, when you are in that flow state and you're jamming and it's like, oh yeah, this is so good.
It is. I love that. I love that. So, Michelle, where can people connect with you? Where's the best place to connect with you? Because I definitely want them to connect with Michelle Barnes, the Michelle Barnes.
Thank you. Well, thank you. So on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Michelle Barnes Success Coach because Michelle Barnes is always taken. And on TikTok, I'm TikTok Lady Boss. And
Yeah.
then my website is michellebarnes.com, and lots of exciting things coming in the new year on there as well.
Yeah. It's kind of like I've tried to get into the habit of like whenever I hear of some kind of new little social thing or even anything that's kind of free that might even potentially get big, I just go and set up a free
Yeah.
account so I can get my name.
Seriously, you have to, and especially with mine, I'm like, I had to buy my damn name just for my website a couple years ago. It was like parked on like a Russian roulette like casino site. I'm like, come on, give me my name.
Well, I was so resistant to TikTok for the longest time. Oh my gosh. I was like, I'm not doing it. I refuse. I will
I've
not
been
dance.
watching your TikToks, Mark. You're doing awesome.
I know, and I put some out there now, but I
I
when I
love
went to go get my name, it wasn't available. I'm like, yep, see, dang it. I should have.
that's what you get for digging in your heels. Like, I'm
I
not going
know.
to do that teenage dancing crap.
I've learned over the years sometimes like there are things I don't like and I'll voice it. And there was one time like because I like to run a lot of Facebook ads too. Like, I spend a
Yeah.
lot of Facebook ads and I remember one time, this is a couple years ago, where Facebook had just instituted the little 15-second videos, in-stream videos on
Yeah.
Facebook. And oh, they were annoying me to no end. And I put out this post. I'm like, if I ever run a Facebook ad, in stream, please call me out and call me a fool or something like that. I got all these comments. Well, it just so happens that one of the guys that I hire to like as a coach to me for Facebook ads, I set up
Yeah.
a call with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw your little post out there, but here's something you should think of." And he shared all these things with me, and I'm like,
You're
"Boy,
like,
don't I
crap.
feel like an idiot?"
You're like, here we go.
That sounds freaking awesome.
You know what though? I love that though, Mark, because I definitely procrastinate doing a lot of things because I want it to be perfect, or I'm like this, and it's like I'm one of my coaches is constantly like, look, the 1.0 version of you is better than the zero point 0. Like,
Yeah,
come on, let's go.
yeah,
And especially for some of us that are like super like tech stuff is just not my jam. And it like gives me so much anxiety. I'm like, I just want to do what I love. I just want to talk to the people and train people and build, but it's like, so I think it's great to like sometimes take a go, yeah, well, okay, so I was a little wrong on that one.
yeah. Well, when we talked to him, like he was showing me kind of his results, and I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's pretty awesome."
That's well,
And
I was a little resistant to TikTok and Reels as well in the beginning. And then, kind of had to like navigate, the waters to kind of see like what, and I think I'm still trying to figure out like, what do I want my jam to be on there? Cause I like being funny on there, but I also like, I want to inspire people too, but the majority of my following came from doing a couple funny things that actually brought me the exact demographic that I was looking for my products and my business. So it kind of ended up working out great. And I was like, okay, well, I see what they want. And then I see how like once they come in because they like that, then they're like, oh yeah, well, I want to lose weight, or yeah, I want to get rid of wrinkles, or yeah, I want to make money from my phone.
I think
So
one of the one more thing, and we'll wrap it up here. But I remember uh, I saw this viral video a couple years ago, and it was a company that put out like this anti-wrinkle cream, and they were putting it on their eye, and you could
okay.
literally watch the eye change, and like that
Oh,
video went viral, and I heard this woman had made like hundreds of thousands of dollars off that video. I'm
well,
like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
it's
that's crazy.
amazing. And I think, TikTok's so like the wild, wild west still, like, everybody, people, you think you got it down and you think you kind of like you nailed the algorithm with it. It's like, forget about it. It's like the videos that I'm like, this one's gonna just crush.
Yeah.
Like, it's like 200 views. And then like the ones that I'm like hesitant, I'm like, ooh, should I post this? You know, those go crazy. So you
Yeah.
just never know. I mean,
Yeah.
I have girls on my team that are, doing over 100,000 in personal sales on TikTok and Reels.
It's crazy. And it's true. You never know. Like I'm very heavy internet marketing type guy. And I always tell people like, uh, look, some of the crappiest looking websites actually convert them better. They convert better.
Yeah,
All these highly designed, fancy looking websites.
I
And
know.
and then my question is always like, do you want to look good or do you want to make money? I mean,
Can
it's,
I do both? Can I
yeah,
do
I
both?
know, right? Is there a happy medium somewhere? You know,
I
and
think I'm in the both category.
I know, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, uh, you never know. And some of the things you think that won't, it's kind of like that same old adage. The person you think won't be successful
Yeah.
actually goes on to be way successful. There are plenty of people that I've
Yeah.
coached and worked with over the years. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. This is gonna be a tough one. And they go on. I've had people go on and they're like, man, they're crushing it. And I'm like, I've proved wrong,
Yeah. So what do you think was the key with those people that you kind of thought there's no way in hell this person's gonna.
I think, you know what? And I think sometimes it's where they just kind of step into who they are and they're them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes it unique, but there definitely is where they just kind of stick with it.
Yeah.
It's like it's that kind of stick to itedness. Like they're just patient. Like I had
Yeah.
one guy, it took him forever to get
Yeah.
some things accomplished. But man, once he got it done and it was ready to go, he just started rocking. And I was like,
That's
man, this is so exciting to watch. And so
yeah.
sometimes you think those people that go really, really slow, like they're never going to make it. But actually, those are the ones to really watch because they're the
Yeah.
ones that could bust out and become like, the next superstar. And
It's so
so,
true.
um,
Well, I love that. People always say, "Oh my gosh, you've built this, to 6, 7 figures 5 times now." And and they're always like, what's the key? You built in, every different way over 27 years. And I always say, like, people, whole team calls me the queen of consistency, and they always talk, and I always talk about, yeah, I am the queen of consistency. Like I do it on the days I don't want to,
yep,
and no matter what is going on in my life, I still show up, even if it's a little bit, I still show up every day. If people knew some of the stuff that's happened in my life in the last year, but a lot of them don't. And it's not because I'm not being vulnerable, like, I mean, I would share stuff with people, but it's like, you still got to show up. And I always talk about being a consistent, visible leader,
yeah,
and I just told my team today, I'm like, leader of one, leader of many. If you can't lead one, you can't lead
yeah,
any.
yeah.
you know
It is. It really is. You can be very passionate about what you do, but you're still gonna have those days where you're just like, man, I don't feel like doing anything today, but I have
Totally.
to. Like I
Yeah.
gotta get it done. And it's like I always tell people too, like I always make a lot of videos, but it's not like that's been the driver of my business, but it's not like I wake up in the morning and go, yeah, I get to make a video today. Sometimes
Right.
it's like dreading it until I hit record, and it's like,
It's
but
so true.
so
Well, I always say, do the things you don't, leaders are defined by doing the things they don't really feel like doing. But
yeah,
once you do it, then all of a sudden you're like, well, that wasn't so bad. Why was I being
yeah,
so ridiculous? And they're like, okay, maybe I'll do a little bit more,
right.
So like, just, it's that law of inertia, like something in motion stays in motion. So get it going.
I love that. Well, Michelle, it's been awesome having you out, and I'm so glad we finally connected to talk a little bit. And I'm sure this won't be the last time. Uh,
No.
Definitely going to have to connect some more because I think you shared just some great nuggets and the strategy part of it for you that are listening. Really, consider the ATM strategy for whatever you're doing. I mean, it's a simple way to start getting people kind of involved in what you're doing, and
Mhm.
Facebook groups can be very, very powerful. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, the social proof alone is just, it's not just you
Yeah.
saying it.
Right.
They're seeing and hearing it from so many other people. And so
Yeah.
it is really powerful.
That's awesome.
So
Well, appreciate you, Michelle. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
And
Thanks for
yeah,
having me. And
yeah,
let's set up a time where we can catch up more. And
yeah,
I just want to pick your brain.
yeah, absolutely. And for everybody listening, make sure you go out and connect with Michelle. She's awesome. She's a great, great person to connect with, and I'm sure you'll get a ton of value from what she shares. So, have a great one. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye guys.